Oh my gosh, I really did think it would just be Missy and I this morning, just because the whole world has COVID, number one. Number two, it's hard to try new things. And number three, it is the very beginning of the year and everyone is a little off kilter and we're just getting a grip on starting this here. But God, you guys are awesome because you're here. So I really want to give you kudos for being here, right? A lot of what I'm going to touch on is just stepping on the journey and having sort of a sense of faith, really. And I don't think of faith as being a blindness. I think of faith as being a heart-led motion. And so we're moving from the heart. It's like we have an attitude in the intellect of don't know. We're just turning off that conversation. That is something that neurotic mind is something we're typically engaged in all the time, right? And that's kind of a sense of sleepwalking through our day. And so what we're doing here is we're literally going to do a certain kind of sleepwalking, which is groping in the dark from the heart and stepping into that territory, because when we're sleeping, right, and we have our dreams are our unconscious mind talking to us about our conflicts, for what we deeply want or need. And so I want to invite you to let that kind of space, that liminal space, be your guide when you're practicing with me. Okay, which is part of why a lot of the time we start lying down. Because when we're up and we're looking at each other, it becomes a little bit performative. We have a certain self-consciousness. We're aware of our external body. We're aware of how we're coming across in a particular way. And so I want to give you permission to just shed that skin, shed that identity, because you are so much bigger than that, so much more than that, right? I don't know if any of you know Bayo Akomolafe, but he is a phenomenal thinker. He's Nigerian, I believe, and he's an intellect, massive intellect and writer. And he's talking about this time being the post-human time. And that really resonates for me. We are so over-identified with our human. And his suggestion is that the human is really an intellectual construction. We've sort of put ourselves in this colonial world, in this particular box, in this particular identity. And think about our pre-verbal self. Are you hearing me? Our pre-verbal self is a non-human entity, right? We're just beingness, doing the dance of life with all things. So when we lie down, we get to shed that a little bit. Now, we're sitting up. So I want to show you sitting up. Oh, that's freaky. Somebody's checking in, but they have just a photo. So I just see the photo. But you know what? We're sort of like that, right? We're the photos sometimes, and we get to just, that's why I intentionally wore my slippers this morning. I told my husband, because I haven't been teaching much at all the last 10 years, I slipped these on and I said, I can put these on and teach in these, right? He's like, oh yeah, man, we're stopping the show, show's over. And we're just gonna, because you feel better, don't you? Knowing that I have these on. Doesn't that relax you? Something in your nervous system goes, me too. Yeah, we can relax. So this is a zafu. A zafu is a circular cushion. This one's filled with buckwheat hull. I can sit on it like this even, where I turn it like that and I sit like that. Do you see that? This is great for men, especially, or people with knee issues. So you can have that opportunity. And I'm going to bring these next time they got rained on. The other option is to sit with them like that, with the circle down, where I sit like this. Now for me, here come the slippers. For me, I like to sit Burmese style, where I just stack one ankle in front of the other. Okay, but you can sit like Caleb has 1 foot up. That's fine. That's sort of like a half lotus or a quarter lotus. That's cool. You can find what works for you. If you do have a tendency to sit with one leg up or one leg in front, please be sure from sit to switch. I'll try to remember to say that, but I just want you to think about that too. Or default to having your non-dominant leg in front, usually your left leg, because when we drive, our right leg is always a little forward. So you're working on balance. Posture matters a lot, and we'll talk about it more later. So that's a zafu. I also brought some Seiza benches, and my husband makes these, and then you have a little cushion, so you can slide your legs under and then sit on top. Okay, these are really wonderful, very supportive. And a lot of Westerners prefer these. That's why I brought those too. So there's a couple of those there. This one's available as well. So if you don't have your own zafu, next time you will, because I'm gonna have more, then please go ahead and grab a bolster or a stack of blankets. If you wanna try the Seiza bench, grab one of those and just set them off to the side. So go ahead and take a moment now to grab whatever your sitting accoutrements are going to be. There are bolsters around the corner, and you can sit on them as you would a zafu. Same with blankets. And the blankets, of course, you want to stack them firmly. And if you don't mind, I'm going to demonstrate the blanket thing too, real quick for those folks. So if you have a blanket at home or with us now, so I have a bit of an Iyengar background, so I can get real anal with the blanket thing, but I won't. But I'm just going to show you, we can do these nice firm borders, and we're aware that the tassels are not at that fold, right? And you're smoothing them out. The reason why is because the reason why we can get a little uptight with these things is because this represents almost like your bone structure. It's an external bone structure, and you're building a body outside of yourself. And if you have lumps, like they become like cancers, you know, or something, like they become something that is just not supportive to your system, and they don't allow the asana to flow. So if you want your asana to flow, and you want to be able to deeply let the muscles and fat and skin and all that relax into the bones, you need your bones to be consistent and stable. So I have 3, I actually would prefer 2, but let's say you have tight hips and you'd use 3. And I'm gonna angle them like a little triangle so that my pubic bone is in alignment with that triangle corner. Do you see that? And then that's how I'd sit. And do you know why? Because then my thighs have a little clearance off the precipice of the blanket edge. Good? So there you are, you've got choices. Now you know all that. Go ahead and lie down. So go ahead and lie down. I'd like you to bend up your 2 knees and separate your feet wider than your hips. And then go ahead and drop your knees in toward one another. You want to feel as though your knees are kissing and they're supporting each other, and you're not having to hold your legs in place. If for any reason this does not feel supportive to your body, please make a change. So this is like an active rest position. So like you're not imprisoned here. So that means, you know, you don't have to feel like freeze frame, don't move. Everybody's going to freak out if I wiggle. Don't worry about it. If you, all of a sudden your body's like, oh my God, I'm freezing. Please take care of that body. Just put a blanket on yourself, you know, fine. Okay, go ahead and place your 2 hands on your low belly, just above your pubic bone. And just let your fingers be loosely interlaced. What do you notice? Right away, we might sense the back body supported by the ground beneath us. And use your out breath to settle into the ground. You might notice the flavors of relief, the sweet flavors of relief that come with letting the body surrender to gravity. Enjoy that. And again, that shedding of the artifice, really just arriving in this moment. Without needing to perform anything, manipulate or change anything, judge anything, evaluate. And finally, I'm sure you're noticing your breath. Particularly with the hands on the low belly, I'd like you to really sense the breath under your hand. Going to do a little breathing exercise. Going to require a little visualization. And it's a 3-part breath. We will be moving our hands just 3 times to 3 different locations, and I'll guide you. The primary thing though is I'd like you to imagine that rather than breathing through your nose or mouth, you're actually breathing through your pelvic floor. This is a fairly vulnerable space. It may even be for some of us a fairly vague space, and that's actually good. We're groping in the dark here. We're navigating something new here. And so we're just gonna have an attitude of don't know, let's see, So go into your pelvic floor, and you can visualize that triangle formed by your pubic bone in the front and the 2 little sits bones in the back, the base of your pelvis. And right in the center of that triangle is just a fleshy mass called your perineum between your genitals and anus. It's literally the very center of your pelvic floor. And that's the home of your pelvic diaphragm. So literally when you breathe, there is movement there. And of course, we breathe through the pores of our skin. So I want you to imagine it's actually happening, but you're also adding to it with your imagination. That your breath is flowing in from the pelvic floor like a little stream of air, stream or river, and flowing under your hands, like you're swelling a balloon in your low belly. And then exhale, simply relax. So let's do 6 breaths like that. Breathing through the pelvic floor, the perineum, under the hand, no higher, and relax. Begin that now. One or two more breaths, really be there. You're in your low body. Good. And now please float your hands up to the diaphragm area, your mid-torso, that point where the low ribs meet. It's fine if the fingers want to lose their interlace here, the elbows spread a bit wide, that's fine. And now please stay with me. You're in your pelvic floor. Feel that. And you're breathing through the perineum like a gentle stream flowing in front of the spine, through the low belly, up to that point of the hands, no higher. And then exhale and gently relax. It's okay to come up with an image that works for you. You can follow light or color up to your hands, or a circus balloon. Whatever helps you feel that internal space rising from beneath you for 6 to 8 breaths. Begin that now. Please take one more breath in this way. Be very attentive. Feel the breath from beneath you, rising up through the body. And relax. Good. I'm going to float the hands up to the area of the upper chest, really exploring the heart space here. Again, it's fine if the elbows spread out. Whatever feels natural to you. And once again, really honing in on our concentration skills. Dive a little deeper. Feel the flesh of the perineum and visualize the breath entering through that skin, through the low belly, up through the diaphragm, up to the heart, and exhale, relax. Please continue with 6 breaths. You can count them. Last couple breaths here. Really feel your heart space. It's a very distinct flavor. It's always changing. Really feel this 3-dimensional physical space. Without judgment. You might detect some tenderness, some tension. You might detect space. Just noticing. Let's take one more full breath. Traveling up to the heart. Beautiful. Let's let that go. Please go ahead and let the arms release alongside the body in a natural way. Release the legs. So finding a shavasana of sorts. Just utter letting go. So the practice of meditation is a concentration exercise. It is. It's very much like weightlifting. The more that we do it, the stronger we get. So you're just working on building our concentration skills. Completely natural for the mind to wander. Completely natural for there to be external or internal distractions. Deeply not a problem. And all we do is we just finally return to what we're deeming relevant for our practice period. We were focusing on the breath. Right now, I'd like you to just feel your whole body. Okay, good. Please bend up your two knees now. Feet are wider than the hips, knees drop in toward one another. Going to bring the hands to the low belly. I'm just going to put all that together. So again, please marry your mind to your pelvic floor. Be there. Breathing in through the flesh of the perineum, really filling the bowl of the pelvis, that three-dimensional space under your hands. Just feel the breath licking the internal low belly. And exhale, relax. One more breath like that. And now float the hands to the diaphragm area. And breathing from beneath you through the roundness of that belly space up to the diaphragm. Exhale, relax. Good, and floating to the heart now, upper chest. Again, from beneath you. Being sensitive now through the perineum, through the belly, diaphragm, all the way to the heart. Exhale, relax. Do a couple more like that. Good. Go ahead and completely let that go. Again, lengthen the legs long. This time, let's go ahead and stretch the arms overhead. Bring the legs together. You can clasp the fingers in any way that feels natural to you and just stretch into your full length. Again, aware that we're more than the body. So you can lengthen beyond the body. Stretch into space here. Should feel good. And then when you're ready, you're going to bend up your knees and just roll to one side slowly as a transition. You can rest one arm under your head. So we're connected to the ground. I always want to reinforce your relationship to the ground. Our Mother Earth is like a vast magnet, always drawing us to her breast. Our connection in this lifetime is unseverable. Our neurotic minds will have us floating up into all kinds of diluted tangles, but we're really more connected than we could ever fully know to this earth. Let yourself be heavy. You can turn up the corners of your mouth. What a sublime gift to have this Earth Mother. We can always give up and rest on her. Take a slow, smooth breath here. Aware that in a moment you'll be transitioning to sitting. Please visualize your seat, where you're going to locate that object in space. And we'll go ahead and press into the floor with that top hand, letting your head be heavy. Slowly come up, staying connected to the ground. And then go ahead and grope around for your seat. So you're going to set yourself up for sitting. Your temperature might have dropped a little bit. It's very supportive to have a blanket on your lap. When I sit really long retreats, I like to have a little blanket roll around my waist, like so that I can place my hands in this dhyana mudra, meditation mudra, on the blanket support. A lot of that has to do with my particular physique. I have a long torso. And so I find if my arms are dangling to my lap for, hours and hours at a time, my trapezius gets very sore. So these are things we learn over time, and your seat will change over time if you continue sitting. A lot of this is just about listening to your very unique structure. Right away, feel the body. Your 2 feet, your 2 legs, your seat, your torso. Your shoulders, arms, and hands. Your neck and head, all connected. I'm going to walk you through your physical body. And posture is really tantamount to this practice. And it's not static, always changing. So please now, I'd like you to feel, once again, your 2 feet and your 2 legs. Feel the quality of rest in your legs and feet. Might be as dizzy, champagne bubbles, flavor of rest. Just by the nature of not moving and not supporting your weight. Our legs and feet are relaxed. Feel that your knees are lower than your hips. If for any reason that's not true, please set up your posture support by lifting your cushion a little higher or more blankets. Your femur bone is sloping downward toward your knees. Now I'd like you to please feel your seat. We're going to just micro move a little forward with the torso, bringing the weight towards the pubis. And then a little micro shift back towards the sits bones. The next time you rock slightly forward, if you'd like, you can literally reach back for your buttocks flesh and just gently draw it backward. Almost like you're unearthing those little precious pebbles of your sits bones. And then again, just shifting around, finding center. We're already sensitized to that pelvic floor. Feel that? I'd like you to bring your awareness to your perineum. And once again, just a few breaths, breathing up the front of your spine. From this natural positioning of the pelvis, you can feel the spinal column lengthening like a cobra from a basin. As you breathe in, feel that length of the spinal column. And as you breathe out, allow your shoulders to just hang like coats on a coat rack. So let's go ahead and exaggerate that now with an in-breath, lengthening the spine, shrug your shoulders up towards your earlobes, and then exhale, roll them down the back and release. Do that several times. Inhaling, shrugging forward and up. Exhaling, back and down. Continue. You have full permission to loosen up in whatever way you need to. You can fluff the elbows out a little wide. You can literally just drop the palms of the hands on the thighs. With the elbows alongside your side waist, you can feel that the whole shape of your skeleton is a gesture towards stillness, and alignment. Feel the whole body below the neck. Without evaluating, without focusing on anything being a problem. You're simply groping around, sensing into this particular form. Completely new right now. So I've been giving you a lot of instruction. This is our first time sitting together. We're in the one hand opening the door, just cracking it open. and orienting ourselves to this practice. You've done a lot. You've found the ground. You know you can return to the ground at any time. And now you've found this skeleton, this shape, the posture of meditation, which is a journey unto itself. And we've contacted the breath, the body. What we'll no doubt encounter more of as time goes on is silence. And we'll also be supported in instruction so that you'll know what to concentrate on and how to do it. We'll work on that together. In the meantime, I'd like you now to simply have 1 minute of silence here. So we'll begin that with the ringing of the bell. When I ring the bell, you just take in the sound. And when the sound is done, please just sit with the silence for 1 minute till I ring it again. We'll begin that now. Go ahead and bring your hands to heart center, resting palm against palm. You can soften the head towards the heart, soften the shoulders forward. Coming into the low back, just hanging forward, a little bow. Acknowledging the ground. We'll go ahead and softly roll up. I'd like you guys to go ahead and just lie down for a moment. I'm going to read you a poem to close. So this is For the Sleepwalkers by Edward Hirsch. Tonight, I want to say something wonderful for the sleepwalkers who have so much faith in their legs, so much faith in the invisible arrow carved into the carpet, the worn path that leads to the stairs instead of the window, the gaping doorway instead of the seamless mirror. I love the way the sleepwalkers are willing to step out of their bodies into the night, to raise their arms and welcome the darkness, palming the blank spaces and touching everything. Always they return home safely, like blind men who know it's morning by feeling the shadows. And always they wake up as themselves again. That's why I want to say something astonishing, like our hearts are leaving our bodies. Our hearts are thirsty black handkerchiefs flying through the trees at night, soaking up the darkest beams of moonlight, the music of owls, the motion of wind-torn branches. And now our hearts are thick black fists flying back to the glove of our chests. We have to learn to trust our hearts like that. We have to learn the desperate faith of sleepwalkers who rise out of their calm beds and walk through the skin of another life. We have to drink the stupefying cup of darkness and wake up to ourselves, nourished and surprised. Hey friends, thank you so much for sleepwalking with me. Go ahead and stretch out, wiggle your little arms, wiggle your little legs. Open and close your mouth, open and close your eyes. Just stretch out, greeting the morning, greeting the fresh light of day, greeting this new year. Knowing that if it ain't new, if it ain't awkward, if it ain't sort of dark and groping, then it's probably not life. And it is funny how much the culture calcifies into death, all the plastic wrapped stuff. We need to be alive. We need to be uncertain. We need to be in that space. That's a healthy place to be. We don't have a lot of time. Let's go ahead and roll to one side. And we'll come up to sitting up. So I want to invite you at some point today, if you can, even if it's right after this, take a moment to sort of visualize yourself stepping into the veil. You know, it's arbitrary that it's a new year. It's like you could do that all the time. So let's just do that now with some intention and think about and consider, where do you want to move from this year? Where do you want to move from today, this moment? Thank you, guys. Yeah.